Well, this is Linda with North Central Texas again. I'm going to try it again. As you can see, I moved some of the mulch away from the bottom of the pot so I could kind of sit it down in there. And I've dumped potato peelings and a few other kitchen scraps, paper towels, and you can put cardboard. The worms love cardboard, but I just put what I had in there to show you. And then what you can do is set you a pot right on top of it. And then every time you water that pot that's on top, the water's going to go into the kitchen scraps and it'll seep out into the bigger pot, and it's actually going to be fertilizer to the plants. I've got a avocado tree right there that came up voluntarily. I've got a pepper plant back there. I've got, I don't know if that's broccoli or Brussels sprouts that's growing there. I cut all the leaves off of it and cooked it the other day. But you see right there, all those stems going in the dirt? That's the tomatillo plant. And I'm going to see if I can't get some food going into that plant, that tomatillo plant, and hopefully it's going to produce me some tomatillos since the weather's cooled off. We'll find out. But I'm going to be putting more table scraps in the pot right there. And I've got zinnias planted in the top of that. You can see one that's popped up. Because I don't want to put anything too big up there, because I want to be able to lift that pot out to keep putting kitchen scraps into it. And you can do all your other plants the same way. Your tubs, you got to move some of that stuff back around it. And you can put a little bit of garden soil in there. You know, native garden soil. And the worms love it. It'll draw the worms right up into that compost under that pot. And as it breaks down, the worms will be coming in, and it feeds your plants at the same time. So I've done that to several other pots in the past. Like I've done it to this one out here. But my plants loved it so good. Look at this. It's grown so big, I've got watermelon and cucumber vines growing over my pot. So I can't get my pot out to put anything down in there anymore. See it in there? If you can see my pot, I got 2 pots in there. And I can't get the pot out on the top anymore because the vine's grown so big. So don't do like, well, I didn't plant it there. It come up from a voluntary seed, and it come up through that little pot at the top. But my vines are going crazy. Look at this. Since this weather has cooled off and we've got all this rain. And I got to watch my watermelon vines because they're coming over here on my, it's coming over here on my bush beans. But that's okay. They can grow. Get as sick as they want, as long as I can get in there to harvest the stuff when it's on there. But yeah, it's trying to put out watermelons. Look at that. You can see it. I got it covered up. Right there. It's trying to put out a watermelon. And I got lots of them on there just like that. So we're going to see what happens. And those are the little, I think, sugar baby watermelons. They shouldn't get too big. See, I got a pot here, and I got a pepper planted in it. But I already had some compost down in this pot when I set it in the big one. So I didn't put a double pot in there, but I will later. But there's a moonflower fixing to open right there, coming up out of my greenstalk tower, and I didn't even plant it there. Somehow it got in the compost that I put in there. And that's how a lot of my seeds are coming up. I mean, look at my watermelon vine going crazy over there. Hopefully we'll have some watermelons and some good melons, cantaloupe. And there's my stuff I had planted, showed you how to make a potting bag out of a potting soil bag. And all that stuff is living. Look at that. And it's living real good. It's loving this rain as well. I'm getting little peppers on this plant, and it's growing out of the cinder block. Look at that. There's one there. And these other ones are doing the same thing. They're getting blooms, and they're getting ready to put out some peppers. There's one right down there. Oh, the leaf is covering it up. Well, where'd it go? There it is right there. Where that bloom is, there's a little pepper. So we'll see. And I've got Crepe melon vines growing everywhere. They came up from seed from last year. Because I had Crepe melons growing there. And see, even though those tomato plants struggled, they're trying to come back. And I think those were the bigger tomatoes, and that one back there as well, in the back. The very top of it, it's alive, and it's putting out leaves again. And there's my ground cherries. It's putting out ground cherries. See that right there? That's a ground cherry. It'll open up, and your ground cherries inside when it's ripe. Tomatoes are putting out blooms. Got a little tomato right there. My onions are looking good. This rain has sure made a difference. And you know, I told you about using your leftover water hose to fix your trellis with your tomato stakes. I've only got 3 right there, but I got that tomato growing up the string from it. Pepper plants right there. And look at there at my that cucumber vine. It's grown a foot since we last saw it. And this one over here is just full of, I need to get it up off the ground. It's trying its best to put out little cucumbers, but they're going to rot if they're down on that ground in this rain that we've been having. And there's my seed that come up there. I've got seeds that come up right there. And these are all seed that I just planted this week. Or last week, if you remember. Right there. And there. Those are either cucumbers or zucchinis, but they're looking good. I planted them right in the pot. I didn't start them in a little cup or anything. I just planted them right in the pot and let them come up. And I've got some planted in this one. I planted them yesterday in between showers, so they haven't had time to come up yet. But look at this. My squash is going crazy. I got 2 squash down, 3 little bitty ones, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to town putting out some yellow squash. I got a zucchini down there, or yellow squash, I'm not sure which. But look at there. Those watermelon and cantaloupe vines are going crazy. I should be getting something off of them before too long. And my peppers are growing like crazy in that tub right there since the rain. I mean, they're just going across the yard. It's all looking good, really it is. I tell you, the rain works wonders. See the flowers on the tomatoes? I'm going to have tomatoes. There's one right there. Oh, talking about melons, look at this. And I got it up high enough. Hopefully an animal will not get to it. this time I'm probably going to have to put a net under it to hold it up, because it's probably going to get so heavy on the vine that it's not going to hold it. But I didn't know that was there. Wonder what a day or two will make, isn't it? Now look, these vines good, seeing if I could see melons or anything on them. And I know that had to be there for a day or so, even if it was small, but I didn't notice it being there. And look at there. My moringa tree has grown a foot, because it's almost as tall as I am now, and I'm 5'3". There's some little grape tomatoes started, and they're ripening. I was wondering if they were going to get time to ripen, because some of them were dying and falling off and swiveling up. But now, since this rain, I'm going to have some little cherry tomatoes. Well, grape tomatoes, not cherry. I got cherry tomatoes, but they're on some of the other vines. Look at this. That okra growing. If I can keep it from falling over. Right there. I'm going to have to remember to come out here tomorrow and look at them real good and not let them get too big on me. But look at that. My peppers are putting out blooms. That means I'm going to have some peppers pretty soon. And my cucumber vine, look, it is going crazy. It's growing everywhere back here. I don't know if it's got any little cucumbers on it yet, but it's been putting out blooms. Yep, there's one started right there. And I'm sure there's quite a few more started along in here. One started right there. I don't know if you can see that. It's right there where that little yellow flower is. Yep, what a difference a day makes. I'm trying to keep these things to grow on these cages since they're here. I had tomatoes planted down there on the bottom, but they died out. The ones in the pot survived. The ones that were in the ground didn't. Like that one there, it just gave up. Even though I tried to water it, it died. And it produced quite a few tomatoes before the heat hit. But see there? Oh, I got to pick that one. Look at that. See, you will get tomatoes if you keep your plants alive. Oh, so good. I love to pick those little cherry tomatoes and the grape tomatoes and put them in your salad when you fix the salad. There's one right down there. Turn me loose in the garden, it's like putting a kid in a candy store. There's tomatillos there blooming, but I don't know if they're going to produce anything. They'll be like everything else. One of these days I'll come out here and there'll be a whole bunch of tomatillos on there, and I'm not even expecting it. See, that tomato bush survived. It trugged it through all the heat. Some of it died down, but it's coming back to life, and it'll put out some tomatoes between now and cold weather. Some of them, like that one, is just about to give up. But see these? They died back, and now they're starting to put out some blooms. Bloom right there. And under there. Whole bunch of them on this one. And the eggplant back there is growing like crazy. I just wished I didn't have it so jammed up in everything, because it's got blooms on it. It's going to be putting out eggplant. And this one started producing more. That's the first one I've seen on there since the rain has started. There's one down there. I don't know if you see that. One started there. There's one there. So I'll be picking some eggplant off of that bush. Look there, that tomato bush is taller than I am. It's about a foot over my head. The peppermint has went crazy over here since it rained. See, I didn't expect everything to survive all that extreme heat, but I knew most of these tomatoes and pepper plants would. I mean, they're tall. I had okra last year that was 15 foot tall. So I decided this year I was not going to plant anything that would get that tall, because I had to bend the plants over to pick them. And I said this year I planted the smaller version, so I didn't have to worry about bending them over. See, they're trying to produce some more tomatoes. Right there's a green one. You can see it right there. And these has got little bitty ones. These were the little brandywine cherry tomatoes or brandywine grape tomatoes. I'm not sure which. But there's a whole bunch of little green ones popped out on there. Some up here. So I will be getting more tomatoes. Look at that. Some up there. And look at all the buds, the flowers, and green tomatoes. Yeah, these little cherry and grape tomatoes are pretty hardy. As long as you halfway keep them watered in this heat that we've had, they'll survive. And as soon as the temperature cooled off like it has, they start producing, just like those peppers. Look at those, all the blooms. There goes a little pepper. Just starting. The flower just barely fell off of it. But that's a little pepper. And I think those are bell peppers. All that I had planted in here between the okra and the cinder blocks, most of them are bell pepper. I plant the hot peppers just to make hot pepper vinegar and to keep the ants away. They say if you plant hot pepper and marigolds in your garden, that it helps keep ants and other bugs away from your plants. So I need to shut this shed up before I walk toward the house. But this was the garden tour that I promised you. Since everything is got a good soaking for several days of rain. We'll see what happens. I mean, even my dahlias have started putting buds back out. Put this bowl down so I don't have to carry it. I've got natural curly hair, and my hair has really been frizzing up for the last few days. I mean, look at all my little blooms that are on my cucumber vine. And there's a little cucumber I don't know if you can see it. Right there. Flowers at the end of it, but that's a cucumber. It's a little baby cucumber. So, and there's a little one right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's on the other side of the vine. Let's see if I can get it on this side. There you go. There's a little cucumber. And I think with having them up off the ground this time, I'll be able to see them when they're big enough for me to pick them, rather than them end up getting yellow. And I love the idea of using your garden hose or any type of tubing at the top of your tomato stakes to widen your trellis and give something area to climb up on. I think that's what's going to be saving my cucumbers. But I got cucumbers growing all out there too. Oh, as rainy as it is, I shouldn't be sneezing. There's no dust out here. There's a little bitty one in there tried to make it, but it kind of didn't have time to get big enough to do anything. But, you know, I told you that this rain would make everything come back to life. And I got squash and zucchini planted in here. I just hope it does something. I mean, I'm sure it will. Even my plants on the porch came back to life. And there's that big old eggplant that's almost as tall as I am. I had to go ahead and I picked that one big eggplant off of it the other day, and that's what I did my video on. There's one right there. And it's fixing to put out one right there. So it's going to have some more on it. There's blooms all up it, so. And my peppermint here. The coleus is trying to survive, but it's not looking good. Got a tomato plant running up the trellis there with my clematis. Clematis is springing back to life too, going over the arbor. And I got a tomato bush on this side of it that's come back to life. So, and I got one out there between those trees in that pot. So we'll see what happens. You can see my rock garden has come back to life. I mean, everything is looking good. Daylilies have popped back up out of the ground. That Mexican plant that I have that I cannot remember the name of right there has been trying to bloom. And I've got mums that have come back to life. And the little pig, he's got sprouts growing in him, so I should have some flowers in there. I think that's miniature zinnias or marigolds that I planted in there. And my little rose bush is still hanging on. But like I said, there goes my Crepe Myrtles. That's the little one that I planted here, I don't know, about 3 months ago. This one's been here for several years. But they finally started blooming. I mean, look at this lake I've got in the yard. And this is the one I told you about that I got out of the pot and put it in the ground yesterday. It's right on my property line, so that's where I wanted it. It gets big enough, I may move the rose bush right there because there's a big boulder under that pot. That's the reason I put the rose bush in the pot is because it's a big boulder under there and you can't dig a hole. That's the only place right there that I could put a hole. So I'm just hoping it'll survive. And here is the moonflowers in the... And you see? All of those are going to be flowers. They're going to open up. That one's getting ready to open right there. So when they do open, I'll have to take some pictures or do another video and show you. But look at the size of the moonflower plants here now. Look at that one. It's happy. It's just standing straight up. Poor little sunflowers are falling over. But that one back there has got a bloom on it. Look at that. It'll be opening. And this one right there has got one too. And like I said, everywhere they have a flower, it'll end up being a seed pod. Like that little ball that I showed in one of my videos. How they make a little ball with stickers on the outside of it. They'll dry out. And as soon as they pop open, that's when you need to harvest the seed from them. Because anywhere that seed falls, you're going to have plants growing. There's more flowers right there fixing to open. Right there, and back there, and there. So it's going to be pretty out here in a few days. Well, this video is getting pretty long, so I don't want to keep running it in the ground here. But look at there. Okra. Small okra. Small okra. I'll be cutting okra pretty soon again. The moonflowers out here are going to be opening too. The crepe myrtle is blooming. And look at here. There's okra. Okra here. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to cut okra tomorrow. Because by then, overnight, it grows like crazy just overnight. And there's one underneath it. So, and one right there. I can't tell you how many times I've come out here to cut okra and miss seeing them, and then they end up so big that I have to leave them on there for seed, like I did that monster right there. That one got way too big to cut, so I've left it on there for seed because it's too tough to cook. But they got more started right here. So I just have to come out and pay more attention. Keep a closer eye on them. I wasn't watching them because I didn't think they were going to produce anything in the heat at the time. But I was wrong. They did. And see right there? That's producing a melon. I think that's a cantaloupe. It's a small melon vine growing all amongst the watermelon vine. So I'm going to have watermelons and cantaloupes all in one place, along with the tomatoes and God knows what else. It'll surprise me, I guess. Well, with that note, I am going to bid you a good evening. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos, because that's the only way I'll know that you like the content of my videos and you want me to keep going and making more. So, all of you have a blessed evening.